There was a story that came out, a video that was shown saying back in the days when Kim K was Paris Hilton's assistant.
Yeah.
Was it true? Was Kim K Paris's assistant?
Yeah, she used to sleep in my guest room. Yep. And
Kim.
then some weird shit happened. I'm not gonna say what happened, but and then she made it to the master bedroom.
I should have had baby with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian. You know, Kim was Paris Hilton's assistant.
What's going on with this? That is if I ever go to India outfit. Really?
I should have had baby with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian.
In a shocking revelation to his ex-wife and her best friend, Kanye West implied that Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton may have been having affairs with Diddy. The fact that there is a purported video that may have been taken from Diddy's estate is even more bizarre. If you have been paying attention, you are aware that this rumor regarding Kim and Paris having a romantic relationship with Diddy is not new. However, after Scott Storch recently spoke out, things completely changed. Scott was present at all the major events and behind-the-scenes activities because he is now a producer and songwriter, and he stopped talking informally now. He described in detail what was happening in those elite groups of celebrities in the early 2000s. It also fit Kanye's storyline far too well. Scott used to reside on Indian Creek Island, which is among the most exclusive places on Earth. Paris Hilton entered the picture at about the same time. His music was the first reason she connected with him, but their relationship went beyond that. After dating for a while, they entered a committed partnership. The most important lesson, though, is that she gave him access to a completely new aspect of celebrity that he had never experienced before.
It like a couple years later to move closer to disaster, which was I was safe in Bal Harbor, and then I moved to Palm Island, and that's where all of happened. So yeah, Paris came to work with me. We ended up dating and had a relationship, and
she introduced me to things like Us Weekly, nightlife, paparazzi, and being the man.
She introduced me to like paparazzi's nightlife, being like the man, Us Weekly, you know, TMZ, like this whole party life and wild like that I never experienced before because I was like in the studio night and day. I was rich. I had every car you can imagine, but they only went from the house to the studio and back. Like friends would come over and like they would go to the club and then they would come back after, and I would ask them how it was. I think I was like nervous to even be cool at that point. And then
she introduced Scott to that gaudy celebrity vibe, the paparazzi, and the never-ending nightlife. Everything from appearing on TMZ to appearing in Us Weekly. She put him in the public eye even though he already had the money, the automobiles, and the luxurious lifestyle. He was simply confined to the studio prior to all of that. He even acknowledged that there were times when he felt too nervous to pretend to fit in with those scenes.
Got so caught up in that. And it changed who I was. Like I was hanging out with like people that are just not good. Like people that think they're better than others. Like I don't want to call out names, whatever, it's too insulting. But just like Hollywood douchebags. And like, you know, you are what you hang out with. And it changed me from being this like innocent, like soulful, like, you know, organic person to like this quest for fame and this quest to like I wasn't even like really that sprung on Paris, but the story that
she was only known as Paris Hilton's closet organizer at the moment. But Scott made an unexpected addition. She used to stay in his guest room, he said.
It came out, a video that was shown saying back in the days when Kim K was Paris Hilton's assistant.
Yeah.
Was it true? Was Kim K Paris's assistant?
Yeah, she used to sleep in my guest room.
And then that was unexpected in and of itself. But what was most noteworthy was the way he stated that something changed. Whatever transpired, he did not elaborate. It resulted in her leaving the guest room. She took up residence in the master bedroom. He did not need to explain that silent transformation.
And some weird happened. I'm not gonna say what happened, but and then she made it to the master bedroom. Yeah.
Despite praising her for being genuine and motivated, he claimed that she was natural, driven to succeed, and committed to establishing a profession. At that point, he claimed that she adhered to Paris's model, particularly with regard to the foreign scene. Kim was good at following the playbook.
Found out, or?
No, it was just like she and I were done, and like I think we were both like had it, and we were like commiserating. what did he say? Karen's, she's commiserating at the house from Goodfellas. She was.
When Scott mentioned the Bugatti, he recalled driving up to the mansion on Washington Avenue with Kim in the passenger seat. This is where things started to get crazy. Scott noted that in the video, everyone's focus was on him, and no one noticed that Kim was sitting just next to him. He said that this was Kim K, and no one was watching at the time. His other vehicle, a Mercedes Maybach 62, driven by a man Scott called his guy, trailed behind him. He also claimed that the same man used to carry all of his nose candy.
I got a video, dog. A picture.
$1 billion got oh, it's that's Scott Storage?
Yeah, that's Scott Storage, yo.
Oh, snap. What the hell is Scott Storage?
Yo, he's a dude that make all the beats and yo.
Oh, look at it. Take a picture of his car, man.
That's Scott Storage, dog.
Hey, look at this girl, homie. Yeah. Get the car.
Before Kanye married Kim, he knew what he was getting into. He knew there were tapes, not just of Ray J, but of multiples, and even now, he is out there trying to make sure they do not get leaked. That detail was not told like some flex, but rather as a raw look into that world, a glimpse of how quickly the game moved and how blurred the lines got between fame indulgence and plain survival.
That's my car too, behind him. That was my driver that used to carry all my for me.
Mercedes Maybach, I think.
That was 62.
But he is finished now. He was letting fans listen in on his last outburst on Twitch not too long ago, and he went straight after Kim this time. According to reports, he stated that having a child with Paris Hilton would have been preferable to having one with Kim Kardashian. Just one line went viral on the internet.
Kanye flew home last night, and he came back this morning. I want to show you guys what he got me. He got me all of his take back.
Oh, Kim. Oh my God. That's amazing.
He continued after that. He continued by saying that he would have a legacy connected to the Hilton brand if he had children with Paris. He asserted that it might have included real estate, hotels, generational wealth, and everything else. There was tension beneath the sarcasm too, as though he was still struggling with the decisions that led him to this point. As if to emphasize the gap between his hopes and his present situation, he reportedly stated at one point that he was no longer even staying in a Hilton.
I had a baby with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian. You know, Kim was Paris Hilton's assistant.
What's going on with this? That is if I ever go to India outfit. Really?
I should have had a baby with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian. You guys say,
but here's the thing. The Hilton family hasn't owned their hotel empire since 2007. That's 5 years before Ye even got with Kim and 6 years before they had their first kid. In actuality, it was more about symbolism than ownership. Ye was forced to face his sorrow in front of the world after understanding that he had contributed to a system that he never had complete control over. In his disturbing interview with academics, he also acknowledged that after only 2 months of dating Kim, he did not want to raise a family, but he insisted that it was not in God's plan and that it was not his choice.
Because could you imagine if I had kids with Paris Hilton, how many hotels I have now? You get what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about that. The Hilton. You know, the Hilton. Because I think I'm staying in the Hilton right now.
At about the same period, rumors began to circulate that Kim was considering taking legal steps to limit his access to their 4 young ones, not necessarily out of spite, but possibly because of how unpredictable he had become. That was not lost on Kanye. In response, he stated that Kim's only actual authority was to remove his children.
Children with this person after the first 2 months of being with her. But that wasn't God's plan.
Things began to make more sense when compared to what Scott had said. He explained how Kim had shifted groups, advanced quickly, and established herself among influential people. Scott provided another story to support this. He brought up a previous studio session in which Kanye paid him a visit. Kanye had stopped by while they were working, asked for a picture, and then quickly drove off, Director, strangely enough though, he came back wearing an entirely new attire, simply to snap the same picture again. Scott and Dre looked at each other, both perplexed, and silently wondered what that should entail. Kanye reportedly yelled at Dre later on and called him the devil. Scott added that Dre was perplexed by the entire circumstance. Perhaps Kanye thought the music was not in line with his spirituality. Perhaps it was a more intimate matter.
Power is to take my kids. I had a baby with a assistant, bro.
It sucks, you know, when someone doesn't see how different they are. You'll always hope that you'll see a glimpse of them. And like,
I'll never forget.
Kanye was attempting to maintain his composure while everything around him appeared to have never been real in the first place. One user said, "Bombs dropped the fact that he's not sharing every detail could actually mean he's telling the truth," while someone else stated he met the witches of Hollywood and his life was never the same. A whole lot of bros have been ruined too till date.